impossible act. I think I want to start with asking everyone to please give a huge hand to the Civil War Trust, especially based on the announcement. There have been so many different players in the resurrection, if you will, of this battlefield, but I really can think of no other greater national supporter than the Trust, and people like Jim and people like Mike who I've gotten the privilege just to know through the years. So thank you again. And we're going to save that property. That deadline of May 31st may seem like it's right around the corner, and I guess in some ways it is, but we're going to save it. And I don't think, and Julian, we've talked, we're not done, are we, Julian? We got more to save. We've got lots more to save. So the Battle of Franklin. Here we are. It's almost 150 years ago. And as I was sitting up front, looking at the banners, well, I was also struck by the fact that when you're someone like me, you live in the realm of people like John Schofield and John Bell Hood so much that you sometimes can get lost in this time of so long ago, but we obviously live in the present. But as I was looking at the banners, and I was walking some of the battlefield this morning, preparing for some of the things this weekend, and it was cold, it was a little windy, and I was like, oh, this is just miserable. I just can't wait to get back inside. I was thinking about one thing as I was walking back, and I want everyone, as you're here, and as you filter out onto your next thing, or you're involved in the various talks and lectures that are going to unfold throughout the day, take a moment and think about what was really happening 150 years ago, right now, and tomorrow, and the next day, leading up to November 30th. Really think about what was happening. Because one of the key components, I believe, to resurrecting this story was getting people, not just locally, but it starts there, but nationally, to understand that what happened here mattered, that it was important, that what happened here deserved a far better fate than to be shunted aside and be a secondary story of a secondary story, which is really what Franklin was. There were very few people who really knew anything about it, and even among those, I would dare to say many of those didn't really care about it. They were more interested in blaming people like the fellow right here, and making Franklin something that was almost a caricature, cartoonish sort of story. It never should have happened. It was all because of the raging manifestations of John Bell Hood murdering the Southern Army on the field south of Franklin. Who wanted to remember that story? Not Southerners, not Northerners, not most people. If you make something into a story like that, you make it less important. And so it's easy to pave over it, and build on it, and just cover it up. And then, once that happens, it is forgotten. And then time goes on. And it becomes incredibly hard to bring that story back. I remember, I think Jim said he was sitting on his back porch when you got the call from Ron Heller about the golf course. I was living in Arizona, and I got a letter in the mail about the golf course, the eastern flank as we now know it. And I remember thinking, my God, I've been waiting my whole life for this. For people to actually believe that this was important. It takes a handful of disciples to spread the gospel. But once it takes hold, it has a great power. And that's, in some ways, what this story has become. It has a vibrant hold on people. Once they get it, you can get people to understand almost anything. But once they believe it in here, it doesn't leave. And that's what's happened with Franklin. We have 100,000 people a year now who visit the battlefield, visit the house sites. They're coming here. And yes, Rogers, they are spending money, and lots of it.